Exactly. And speaking of some memories, you guys had a pretty cool memory maker probably about a month ago, maybe a little bit more than a month ago at this point. You got to go and were invited by Paul Skenes and Griffin Jacks to the WCB. How cool was it going to that game and kind of being a part of that, seeing that game and seeing a former graduate and also Paul Skenes who went to Academy for a few years?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, World Baseball Classic is absolutely incredible. I encourage every baseball fan who has not been to go because it is the environment is unbelievable. I would say it's much better than even a World Series game um, for the MLB. So first and foremost, the environment was unbelievable, and yeah, we were so grateful to have Paul and Griffin fly us out there to Houston, the Astros stadium, to be able to watch them, beat Mexico. It was awesome to talk to them post-game, and, they helped remind us that, what we're doing here does work. There is
Yeah.
some there is a method to the madness here, and it was especially cool to listen, to Griffin, as you said, he is a grad, so, he's technically, I believe, a reservist in the Air Force right now. So it's pretty cool, because he really was in our shoes. And then, of course, Paul's unbelievable, one of the best pitchers and made it. And while he didn't graduate from here, he still did go through 2 years here and absolutely lit it up on the field, while he was here in the Air Force uniform. So, it was incredible hearing from those guys, and, our entire team was so grateful that we're able to have those mentors, available and that they were willing to take some time out of their busy days to talk to us.
Exactly, and the craziest thing is that Paul was actually a catcher originally at the Air Force, and then obviously ended up becoming a pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the MLB currently, which is incredible. And like you mentioned, the atmosphere was just absolutely insane. Obviously, Team USA fell a little bit short in the championship game, but truly it had to be probably the atmosphere and seeing just professional baseball players play in such a cool stadium that, if I had to guess, was probably the coolest moments, kind of being able to get to go there.
Yeah, yeah, it was unreal, just chills, especially with the USA chants and also just you could feel the energy, between the US and Mexico, it was incredible, and then, a lot of the guys on the US team, I grew up, idolizing, Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, like, these guys are, from elementary school, middle school, like, this is who I grew up on, so being able to see them represent the USA on their chest and go out and play was awesome.
Exactly. No, it's a really cool, obviously, opportunity. I'm sure it's going to be something that you remember for the rest of your life. Outside of that, has there been any other memory making moments? Like it could be like a trip, it could be like something that you got the opportunity to do that you're like, I can't believe I got to do that.
Yeah, I think I mentioned them earlier, but the 2 top ones have to be flying in a F-16 fighter jet at Eglin Air Force Base, down by Destin, Florida, and then also jumping 5 times, out of an airplane, solo skydiving after just a week of training. Those 2 here at the academy were just insane. The fighter, jet ride was, courtesy to our coach Kaz. He's really good at getting us incentive rides to see if his players want to be pilots
Okay.
when they graduate. So that's kind of the purpose behind that. And that was just insane. It's hard to put in the words how incredible those aircraft are, and meeting with the pilots and everything, and being in the squadron with them was awesome. And then our jump program here, all credit to the Wings of Blue. It's our pair, and they are incredible teachers of the art of skydiving.
Yeah.
Well, so, yeah, you get a week of training here, in between your freshman if you, get selected for the program, and you get 5 solo sky I'm a little bit afraid of heights, but I always wanted to kinda, try to conquer that here at the academy with the jump program, and thankfully I did, and, so those 2 memories, I'll never forget those 2 feelings and definitely unique opportunities here to the academy.
What was that first solo jump like?
Yeah, so I happen to be with 2 of my best friends. They're no longer on the baseball team, but they're both still here at the academy. Both are with the Wings of Blue now. And so we're sitting there side by side, and yeah, the ride up as we're climbing in altitude, it's getting quieter and quieter as everyone is realizing that you're not gonna ride down with this plane. You're gonna jump out and be falling, from the sky.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I will never forget the feeling letting go. So I thought for your first jump that you would just jump out of the plane, but you actually hold on, so you're hanging outside of the plane, and then you let go and you get into a position that they've drilled you on hundreds of times. So getting in that position and then 10 seconds of free fall, it flew by. You kinda just go into tunnel vision, and you're just trying to count the 10 in your head and then pull the cord and hope that the parachute, opens up good above you. So, thankfully, all went well. For everyone in the program, that feeling of just once the canopy opens up and you realize what you just did and that you're also still floating thousands of feet in the air, that was incredible, and I'll never forget the memories with those friends.
It's probably one of those things where once you do it once, it's like let's do it again. Like there's kind of that little energy, like junkie kind of feeling of just like wanting to do it again once you do it, or was it more of just like once you did it, you're like, okay, maybe this isn't necessarily for me.
Yeah, I think for the people where the jump didn't, go great, where they were kinda a little out of control and they're, I think for them it was got my one in, I'm done. But for me, thankfully, the teaching really stuck with me, and I was able to control my free falls all 5 times. And so that adrenaline rush, it's definitely something that you crave. And so for me, once we were down on the ground, I was ready to go back up, but until the, adrenaline crash hit, and we were all napping, just because it's such a insane emotional roller coaster. But yeah, for me, thankfully, I was able to hold the free fall, so I was ready to get right back in the plane once we were on the ground.
And then obviously the energy rush that you get in the jet as well. I talked to someone that's actually going to be a pilot with the Navy, and basically he said it's almost kind of like Star Wars a little bit, like where it's kind of like that scene where they go light speed, where it just kind of like everything just goes like quiet and just like everything's just going crazy around it. Pretty accurate, or is it a little bit kind of different than that?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. It's hard to really put into words how those planes can move and what the pilots are able to do. And for me, I got a uncontrolled takeoff, which is where they just pull back on the stick and you're climbing immediately once you clear the runway. So that was insane. I wasn't prepared for it. Of course, the pilots, it's a running joke to not warn you. So next thing I know, we're flying through the air and we're doing, we're upside down, we're turning everything, and your mind can't really comprehend what's going on. The pilot thinks it's hilarious. But that
Yeah.
was just insane, to be just completely like your body's in shock. It doesn't
Yeah.
understand what's going on, and then you don't even realize what's going on until you're back on the ground and then watch some of the video, of what the plane was doing with you in it, and you can't believe it.